Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day, and if not, I hope it gets turned around for you. Just wanted to do another retro Tuesday. We're gonna crack open some rack packs of 86 tops. Now, there's not a lot in here. This is most of all the good cards are in 86 tops traded, but there's a few Hall of Famers in here. There's going to be some cards of some popular favorite players from over the years, and I just thought it'd be fun. This is kind of almost when I started getting involved with card collecting back when I was a kid. I was in 86. I was, 10 years old. I wasn't quite 100% into collecting yet, but I do remember having a lot of these cards. I love this design of these Topps cards where they got the big name of the team there and then a big picture and then the name. So I just thought it'd be fun to throw it back and look at these cards, just see what we get out of these 3 rack packs. Like I said, I got these rack packs. They do come with these turn back the clock cards. Here's one of Frank Robinson, and they all have these 1985 All-Star cards in them as well. There's 22 in a set, and looks like we have like the All-Star team set. Looks like we have, what do we got in this one? American League team set, so we got a duplicate there. And then we have a Steve Harvey in this one, 1985 All-Star. Like I said, not much in these, but it just to be really fun to crack these open and take a look at 1986 and 1986 Topps cards. So let's do this. These are always harder for me to get open than regular packs for some reason. But I bought these really cheap from, where did I get them from? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. But they were like $1 each. So I might have even overpaid at that price, but I thought it'd be fun to crack these open. Okay, hold on one second. Let me get some trusty scissors here. Sorry for just the black there. And let's cut these open and see what we can get in here. So here's the first stack of cards. Let's go down here and get this next stack. Second stack. And the third stack. Right. Like I said, I do have 3 of these packs, so we'll look through them all and see, get rid of that trash, and see what we got here. Like I said, I really like these 1986 Topps cards. I really love 86, 87 design, and just really like the look of the old cards. So, got a Lopez there. There we got an All-Star card of George Brett. I always like George Brett. I think we all famously know him from that video of where he goes, got man, I am drawing a blank today. I'm so sorry. Drawing got it on his bat and it was too high, and the pine tar, man, there we go. Got the pine tar too high up on his bat, and then they call him out, and he comes rushing out of the dugout. So I just remember, but I always liked George Brett. It's got a Ron Reynolds. Oh, man. Here we go back and forth. Steve Bowe. Another catcher. Let's see. Brent Gaff. Billy Martin. Manager. The Yankees. Chick Cotier. Welcome back, Cotier. No, that's not even right. That's welcome back, Cotter. Is another manager of the Seattle Mariners. Never really understood the whole manager card thing. I guess it is a team checklist. It's a great way to do it, but I always kind of liked when they put more different players on top. Never really understood. Never had any huge desire to run out and grab a whole bunch of manager cards, but every once in a while, you got a really, really good manager. There's an AL All-Star of Dan Quisenberry. Who we got next? Mike Easler, Chuck Porter, and there's yet another checklist. George Frazier, Del Murphy, NL All-Star card. Now, I am a huge fan. I really like Del Murphy. I thought his career was going to be a lot bigger than it was, actually. I mean, I think he is really highly regarded as a player. I would say that my first favorite team right now is the Cardinals, just because I've been watching baseball longer with them. But I would say that my second favorite team is the Atlanta Braves. I grew up in Atlanta, or I was born in Atlanta and grew up around Georgia for a little bit before I moved to South Carolina and then up to Missouri. But I remember going to a game with my grandpa. I don't remember how young we were or how old I was, but I went with me and my brother and my grandpa. And I remember we went down. It was the Braves against the Mets. And the only things I kind of remember from it is the fact that Darryl Strawberry hit a walk-off home run, so the Mets won. And then we went downtown to probably someplace we shouldn't be and went to Crystal's, a hamburger place, and ate. And that is the only two little memories I have from that. But I can't even remember if Dale Murphy was playing then or even how old I was. But a little funny story about the Braves and me. Harold Reynolds, yep, MLB Network broadcaster, Harold Raines. Let's see, we got Rupert Jones, never heard of him. Frank, oh man, I'm not even going to try to do that. Frank Ufamia, wow, okay. An Expos leader, Andre Dawson. We got a Mets leader. Who is that? Is it Mookie Wilson? I think it is. Doesn't. Yep, Mookie Wilson right there on the front. That's awesome. We got an A's player here, Tom Tellman. There's another manager. Now, I do know this manager, Whitey Herzog, growing up as a Cardinals fan in my teen years. And Whitey obviously is a big, huge name here in St. Louis and always will be. That's one manager that I definitely know. Rick Camp, Giants leader. Let's see what we got. We got Greg Minton. Don't know him. We got a Yankees leader. It's hard to see. Willie Randolph. Really, really good player. Mike Marshall. Stu Cliburn, Rob Deere. I do remember Rob Deere, as I do like the Giants. I would say that probably they're my third favorite team, only because I was a big Will Clark fan and got to see a lot of the Giants games. So I would say I do remember Rob Deere. Mike Jones, Mike Hargrove. Oh, this is a cool little card. Pete Rose cards. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of these in here. This is the set. It has, let's see what it has in here. Let me see. What are these called? The Rose Specials. So this is 1963 to 1966. The Pete Rose years. Obviously, Pete Rose, not a Hall of Famer because of his because of the gambling on baseball. But it looks like it's just a little bit of a reprint of all his different cards that they inserted into this pack from 63 to 66. So cool little card there. Mark Thurman, Doug Corbett. There's that Steve Harvey 1985 All-Star card. Danny Cox. Phil Niekro. Man, he looks absolutely old there. Wow. Obviously, he played for a really, really long time. How old was he there? He's born in 39, 49, 59, 69, 79, 89. So he's about 40-something years old there. I don't know much about Phil Niekro, but man, he definitely looks like a guy that came back that was playing for a long time and kind of probably in like a movie scenario came back. They needed him to pitch one more game. And I guess that's it. That he does look awful old there. That is crazy. Rod Guidry, Bob Clark, Mike Mason. We got Ken. Paul Molitor. That's a go, and that is a really good card right there. I grew up, I really did like Paul Molitor, Robin Yount, the Brewers. It's not like I was a favorite of every team that there is. I mean, it kind of makes me sound like that, but I just remember I liked players. I wasn't so much of a team oriented. I liked, obviously I liked different teams growing up, and I kind of cheered for those teams, but I really did like players. I like the players that were good and stood out. And I do like that Paul Molitor card. Glenn Davis, Del Barra. There's Dwight Gooden. Now, yep, I remember Dwight Gooden. Obviously, really, really good in his day, and then it didn't quite go the way that it was. I think, man, I don't want to say anything that I don't think. So I'm not going to say anything about it. I thought there was something I had remembered about Dwight Gooden. I do remember him being one of the better pitchers in the game at one point. There's a Willie Wilson, a Mike Keith, Gary Carter. I really like Gary Carter. That's another player that I remember growing up. Something about, he was just a tough player. I just really liked Gary Carter. And I just saw Allen and Ginter. I think it was an Allen and Ginter card. Special card of Gary Carter that was signed, I think it was. And man, it was just really, really cool. Really, really like Gary Carter. Really good player. Rick Rhoden. Bob Horner. Claudel Washington. And Barbaro Garby. So I understand this video is getting a little long. We got 2 more packs to open. So I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker. I kind of get pulled into a story about a player or trying to remember something, and it kind of slows me down. So I'll try to get a little bit quicker on this. I don't need to make these videos super, super long. And I do appreciate you watching it if you're still watching. I just love seeing these old cards opened. I'll take the time to watch other people's videos and watch these cards being opened, and just the memories of kind of seeing these old cards and some of these old players. There's that All-Star card. Nick, Lynn, Tony Gwynn. Love Tony Gwynn. Man, was such a great player in his day. Just seemed like a really, really good guy. I mean, obviously I did not know him, but he just one of the ambassadors of the game. Toby Hara, Charlie. Let's see. Let's get through these. Bob, Jim Wynn, Lloyd, Chris. Oh, I think I skipped a card. There's one sticking here. Lance Parrish from the Tigers. Bruce Vache. I don't know about that one. Jerry Naron Aguilar. Joaquin Aguilar. Yep, Cardinals. Like that card. I remember him. We'll hear about him all the time. Denny Martinez. Bud Black. I remember him. He was the manager of the Giants for a while, I'm pretty sure. Man, my memory is not great lately. But, yeah, Bud Black. I think he was a manager for the Giants for a little bit. If he's not now, I'm not sure. Glenn Hubbard. John Franco. Mike Davis again. Tony La Russa. All right, so there's a manager card that I obviously recognize. Tony La Russa. Here he is with the White Sox, but I was in a love-hate relationship with old Tony La Russa. I knew that he was a good manager for the Cardinals. But man, did he rub me the wrong way. He would just constantly, the little moves to the bullpen, a lot of the things that he would do, his lineup was different every day, and it was just easy to kind of like, if the Cardinals weren't winning or the Cards were doing something bad, or even if the Cardinals were doing good and you wanted something to complain about, you blamed Tony La Russa. Looking back, man, he was a great manager, and obviously did amazing things for the Cardinals. So that's a pretty cool card there. So we got some more of these leader cards. Looks like, who is that? Mickey Hatcher. And there's the Cardinals leader. It's Bob Forsch. Dave Lopez. Razor Shines. Man, I have never heard of that guy, but man, what a name. Razor Shines. Rich. Let's see. We got a Reds leader. Dave Concepcion. We got, let's see. There's a Rangers leader. Charlie Hogue. Steve. Hal McRae. I remember him being a manager. Paul John. Carl Best, Dodgers leader, Bill Russell card. Andy McGafkin, Mark Brown, Marty something, Jim Rice, Pirates leader, Rick Rhoden. It is amazing how many cards and how many players have played. When you really look back on all the players that have played in baseball, and to get to a point where you are remembered and you are an all-star or Hall of Famer, I mean, it's really awesome. I mean, there are so many people that get to play baseball that you will never, ever, ever remember. Obviously, we remember old Pete Rose. There's his card. Looks like it's the 83 to 85 Pete Rose years. Bob Shirley, Marty, Max. So I'll just tell you, my first name is Max. Max Venable there. I never played baseball professionally, but there's my name, Max. So now you know my name is Max, and just would like to share that with you. Always got made fun of as a kid with the name Max, and kids would make up some silly names for me, but I do grow up and I do like it because you don't find a lot of them anymore. A little bit more recently, and most of the time, all the Maxes I meet are dogs, which is actually funny because I have a friend right now that's got a dog named Max, and I get called the two-legged mammal Max, and which is a two-legged mammal Max, which is kind of funny. George Bell, Dave, Neil Allen, Ken Phelps, Daryl Boston, good old checklist. And there's a Cal Ripken AL All-Star right there. So let's get into this third pack. Oh, I just moved you guys. Sorry. Bumped into my camera there, so I really apologize for that. Let's get into these cards and get through these as fast as we can. We know that we don't want these videos to be so long that they actually make it to the next Retro Tuesday. I mean, my goodness. I didn't realize until I just kind of looked down on my clock there and saw that this has been going for quite a while. So, don't mean to do that to you guys. I just really start getting lost in these cards. There's another AL All-Star team. So, Chris, Bill, Rick Mailer, Leon Durham, Frank Dipino, Barry Bonella, Ed Romero, Mickey Hatcher, Ozzie Guillen. There we go. I like Ozzie Guillen. I remember watching him a little bit as a player, but then I remember when he was manager, and seemed to always be getting in fights. Seemed to have a really hot temper, Ozzie Guillen, but do remember him quite well. Terry Harper, Dan Quisenberry, Jody Davis, Alan Ashby, Frank White, Rod Carew, obviously we know him. Hall of Famer there, Rod Carew. This is way into his career, but I liked Rod Carew. I actually didn't really watch him that much, but I do know of Rod Carew. I shouldn't say I liked Rod Carew. I do know of Rod Carew. Terry Kennedy, Kevin Gross. Let's see. Turn back the clock. There's that Frank Robinson card. Like I said, guys that just got a chance and a swing at playing in baseball. And look at that. He played 26, 55, 40 games. And unless you're probably in Pete Filson's family, you wouldn't know who Pete Filson is. And that's the amazing thing. I mean, how many players, I mean, I guess that happens in every sport. But just how many players go through. Alex Trevino, Mike there, Ken Howe, Ray. Oh, got a card stuck here. I think it's, yep, ups on. Look at this name. Look at this name. Buddy Biancala. Wow, I don't even know how they fit that on the back of the jersey there. Bill Caldwell. Oh, Vince Coleman. All right, I like Vince Coleman. Back in the 80s when they were stealing all those bases. Him, and I really liked Willie McGee. Yeah, I really like Vince Coleman. This looks like a second-year card. Paul, Phillies leader. Steve Carlton. Harry Spillman. Steve Crawford. Ted Power. Man, love that mullet. Man, look at that. You just can't get away with a mullet like that and a mustache like that anymore. Yeah, Pete Vukovich. Markel. Cable. Steve Trout. What? I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, there's another person that looks kind of older. It also kind of looks, I hate to say, I don't want to insult Steve Trout there, but that card makes him look like an older lady. I don't know. That's just the first thing that struck me. Mike Trilogo, Rich Gedman, Tom. Let's get through the rest of these. Bob Jones. That's funny. Bob Jones. And another guy that looks older. Did a lot of baseball players play older back in the 80s before the young kids came up and knocked him out? But man, he does look older. But Bob Jones is a name. I don't know if anybody lives in South Carolina, in Greenville, South Carolina, or even around. But there's a big, huge Christian college named Bob Jones in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. It was a big deal. Had some aunts and uncles go there. Rick Miller, Tim Lawler, George Hendricks, Vern Rule, George Foster, Teddy Huraga. Oh, I butchered that one. That's, yeah, Herrera. Doug Sisk, Scott, and Bill Campbell. Another guy that looks, is it just because they're in the 80s? Maybe it's just the hair design and stuff like that. So, yeah, like I knew there wouldn't be a whole bunch of stuff in there. Kind of got some Hall of Famers and some cool cards, just some flashback cards to kind of look at. So we got these All-Star cards. We got George Bell. And we got a couple of these Pete Rose cards. Steve Harvey, Cal Ripken. There's another one of those Pete Rose cards. Dale Murray, Dan Quisenberry, and George Brett. All-Stars. Those are probably some of your better players in all of this pack. Then you got all these leaders. You got a Vince Coleman, Frank Robinson, Rod Carew, Ozzie Guillen, who I've heard of. Here's just some of those leaders cards. Tony Gwynn, which I know we all know. Gary Carter, Dwight Gooden, Paul Molitor, and then these are all those leader cards. So that'll do it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. We're going to be cracking open some new cards here hopefully soon. I got a couple of cards that are going to be coming up. I've got some heritage cards that I really like that I'll be cracking open soon. And we'll do some more of these. We'll kind of climb up through the years through the with these Topps cards if I can find them for a good price. But that'll do it for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, like I said, and I hope it turns around if it's not going well for you. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.